I was the catcher.
Just let me record. Were you the catcher where?
For 4 years, I was the catcher. I brought topics, and no one had any topics. Now, one day, I say I'm not doing any topics.
That's not what I'm saying.
Going crazy, and I'm in trouble.
I'm not saying
one day.
That's not
4
you
years.
going crazy. Now, the difference here is that you're just gonna. If you're just going crazy and I'm going crazy, there's no straight man.
And that's exactly the problem.
What?
I was 4 years.
4 years.
I was the straight man, and I had quizzes. I had topics. No one brought anything. Now, sometimes people
always brought.
No, never.
Oh my God!
You brought? Did you bring entertainment? Yes, every time.
I always
was
brought
it
things
pre-planned?
Yes. Yes.
25% of the time.
No way.
Yes.
No way. I have
25%.
dockets here of characters that I've written out for years that I know 6 different ways of where they're going.
Yes. 25%.
And then I'm also
of the time.
free enough to let them go when it's not going that way. I go, okay, let's change the course.
As am I.
No.
Yes.
If it's not going your way, you go, and then we have to get back on track.
No, I let them go, like you just said. I let them go.
Do you?
Yeah. Did I French snake last week? Did I?
Sure.
Did I insist he keep going, even though no one was giving him anything?
Well,
and I felt he was a fascinating character.
Maybe. Well, okay, because let's just get this started here. I said, what do we have doing? Brendan says, I got stuff. I'm not telling you. But I wanted to have some things planned out for an hour of conversation.
Let me tell you. Okay, welcome, Bonies. That's what I call the Patreon.
Is this the Patreon? We don't know yet. This could be the regular.
No, the regular was already recorded as the regular. This is the Patreon.
We'll see.
I call them Bonies because they get in for bony episodes.
And for 5 bones.
For 5 bones, we thank you for your donations. Now, let me tell you what happened. Greg is prepared for the podcast. He said, what do you want to talk about? I said, I'm going to go crazy. I got stuff I'm not telling you about.
But
He's
I wish
upset.
you told me.
But he's upset. Now, I said, in my defense, how many times have I been in that exact position?
What position?
The position of the guy with some stuff to talk about with 2 other guys
Slight difference.
that are running on straight improv.
Slight difference. One, I have Anthony, who I know I know how to work with. 1.
Hurtful.
2.
One.
I'm
response
always
to
lenient.
1 hurtful.
If you ever go, just let me know. I would always say, okay, here's a general idea of what's going to happen.
Not true.
Yes, true. I always go, all right, this is guy. He's a business guy. He's going to have a business plan. Worst case scenario, talk about shoes.
No, that is true. That is absolutely true. In the last 2 years.
No way.
But the beginnings of what this thing started as, you guys came in fucking colder than a fish.
Untrue.
And it was freewheeling, free time, and that's when people loved us.
That's just how well of an improviser and actor I am. You don't think I always got something cooking. Today I got nothing cooking. I got nothing to fall back on.
We don't need a safety net, man. Look
We
at
do.
this. What have we already created? 2 minutes of engrossing content.
Is it?
People see, are they fighting for real? Are they fighting fake? Are they mad?
Are we
What's
fighting for
happening?
real?
Well, let me
I
ask
wouldn't
you
say
this.
fighting. Yeah.
This will determine. What does your fucking shirt mean? Greg's wearing a shirt that says, Cincinnati, don't lick the donuts. No donut lickers allowed.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, I'll tell you this. This is a shirt that I bought and had no idea what it meant for about 3 years until someone goes, hey, that's Pete Davidson's girlfriend. And I went, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande he was dating.
Yeah.
This is Ariana Grande. So then I had to do a little more research. Turns out she went to a donut place in Cincinnati, licked a donut and put it back, and Cincinnati banned her. They banned her from the whole city. They hate her there.
You know, this is why the teens disgusting in this generation, because that's a thing that they put on TikTok. TikTok's the whole new. Nobody's on Snapchat.
Sure.
Nobody's on Instagram. These kids are on TikTok. Okay, they're on TikTok. Knock, knock. Who's there? TikTok. And their big challenge is they go into these grocery stores. They open up the ice cream, give it a lick, put it back in. Everyone, 10,000 likes. Fuck you.
10,000 licks. That's a problem.
Yeah, fuck you. Don't like that shit.
No.
You don't mess with people's food. I always say that.
No.
You don't mess with people's food.
Yeah.
Unless your friend goes to the bathroom at a restaurant, you dump some salt in his water. That's funny.
Oh, an old salt water.
Yeah, because that's funny. He didn't pay for the water. That's funny.
It's also a great test to see if he's a fish.
Yes.
If that guy says, I'm breathing,
Yeah.
well, you might be a fish.
Or if he drinks it down and doesn't say a word, you start to have some suspicions. you got to start checking his house. Okay, is there fish food around? Is his girlfriend a fish?
Yes.
You know,
how many treasure chests does he have in the basement?
Yes. Is there a little scuba diver man that he hangs around with? Does he talk like bloop 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 bloop?
Is that a Roomba or is that a Roomba or a what's the thing to eat the fish off the floor? How did I fuck that joke? I gotta be quick.
No.
Catfish.
Keep going. Yeah. Is that a catfish?
Is that a catfish
or
a Roomba?
Yes.
Let me tell you this: the catfish is the Roomba of the ocean floor.
Sure, the bottom feeders. That's why some people who see other people eating catfish say they're gross. They say, "Oh, who eats a bottom feeder?" Which is dumb because all fish are eating just whatever's in the ocean. So what difference does it make if it's on the bottom or in the middle? You're still eating something that's eating ocean debris.
I base all food off of 2 facts: nutrients, deliciousness. So it's a scale. Sometimes too delicious, not enough nutrients. Sometimes too delicious, too many nutrients, not delicious. But guess what? Catfish, if it has either of those, eat it.
And I would jump in here and say a lot of times I haven't really noticed you checking nutrients.
That's done pre-work. That's like how I prepare for the podcast.
Sure.
You don't see that.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I got Tita yelling at me 96% of my day what I'm supposed to eat. When you see me, you just see me grabbing anything that's delicious. When I'm here, it's all veggies.
No, I'm hot in the brain.
Mad?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, not at you. I've generalized hot brain.
Malaise.
First of all, because of this fucking tremendous drive I took. You know I'm the best driver in the world, but I took a tremendous drive. And then not only that, I'm cutting way down on carbs and cutting out sugar almost completely. That'll drive a man crazy.
No, you can't. You have to. But yes, it's an addiction.
It's an addiction.
Sugar is an addiction.
It's been driving me nuts. It's been driving me fucking nuts. But I'm gonna lean out. You know why?
Why?
Because I'm in show business.
That's how you gotta be.
I'm in fucking show business.
Yeah,
a lot of
gotta be
people,
hot.
these comics, they act, I'm a comic. No, we're in goddamn
We are
show
in
business.
show business. You gotta look good.
That's why.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm nowhere.
I always tell this. I said this. I put this on Facebook one time. I said anyone who chose to become a comedian, to get into show business, and then gets mad because a hot girl gets something that they were passed over for, is a fucking moron.
Moron.
You have you knew what you were getting into.
Show business.
Yeah.
And there's no business.
Yeah.
Like
no
show
businesses
business.
like show business.
Yeah, you're right.
Except some other businesses. Prostitution.
Prostitution is exactly like show business.
Yes.
You always go with the hottest.
You got it.
Or a crazy skill. That's what you go in a prostitute for.
Yeah.
Are you the hottest, or do you got some kind of crazy skill?
Actually, nah. You go by money, really.
Yes.
You
and that also works in show
the
business.
hottest ones, you want the hottest ones, but come on.
Yeah.
You take $600 an hour? Come on, lady.
Dude, come on. I'll just get a weirder version of you.
Yeah.
You know? It's give me the hot one that's missing an eye.
Yeah. I'll take the 125, you know, with a fucking tooth problem.
Dude, look at generations of people who've had huge movies, and then look at the generations of people who just kind of look like, who's my main man from Arrested Development? Michael Cera, right?
Yeah.
Then my man from Facebook came out. That was someone going, give me the next Michael Cera. And then he became big too. Who's the guy? Dan, what was that guy's name?
Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg was the rip-off Michael Cera. There's a bunch of fake Zach Galifianakises.
Hold on. Now, yes, there are a bunch of fakes. Zach Galifianakis gets ripped off all the time.
Yes.
You can't afford Zach Galifianakis.
Here's your cheaper version.
But I got to correct you here.
Yeah.
I think, now we can go into IMDb for this. I think Jesse Eisenberg predates Michael Cera.
I don't know. You have to look it up.
Yeah.
How do you look that up?
We go to IMDb because I think Squid and the Whale was Jesse Eisenberg. That was before. Remember that movie? That was that Noah Baumbach movie.
Yeah, I remember
that. That was a long time ago.
That was pre-Arrested Development. Arrested Development was 94.
No, it wasn't.
I'm talking about the band.
Tennessee.
Michael Cera was part of the band.
Oh shit! Wait, was that band called Arrested Development?
Yeah, Tennessee.
Remember they just had an old guy that would dance? Was he part of the band?
That was Michael Cera. Michael Cera was the old black man who couldn't dance, who could dance too good. Oh, I gotta tell you about a bit I had later. Yes, Dan.
No. I'm just listening to your bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Give
look
a click
this up.
on your face for a few minutes, Dan. Let's take a little Dan action real quick. Look at that face, huh?
That's weird.
No,
it's a
don't
weird
look at my
angle
belly.
for something.
Oh,
to
fix
click.
the camera.
No, but I mean, it's just a weird angle to have a camera point.
Put it on.
I'm looking this way. The camera's
point. Yeah, I hear you. Well, move it around.
So,
all right, go to triple threat camera.
Okay,
Look at
that. Let's break this down here. Jesse Eisenberg.
Yeah.
For his first IMDb entry was a television series called Get Real from 1999 to 2000. But I don't think that's what we got to go by. I think we got to go by the first recognizable thing. So
I would also go by when they blew up.
That's what I'm saying.
Because if Sarah blew up.
That's what I'm saying. The first recognizable, okay, so 2001, lightning, fire from the sky. Don't know it.
Fire in the sky?
Lightning, fire from the sky.
No.
Don't know it.
No one knows it.
2002, Roger Dodger. Don't know it. 2002, The Emperor's Club. Don't know it.
No.
2004, The Village. I do know The
Jesse
Village.
Eisenberg was in The Village?
I do know The Village.
Yeah, but he wasn't recognizable in that movie.
Exactly. I say we got to set the benchmark then is 2005.
I would say Facebook.
2005, The Squid and the Whale. I think
was he a main player in that?
Oh yeah, he was the main kid, and that was a big movie.
That was like an indie movie.
It was an
indie.
Yeah, but it was
but
it was a hot indie. I said it at 2005.
But here's the thing, and this is why I want to argue on this. I think just because he did an indie movie doesn't mean I'm not saying they pulled people who weren't even actors. They were like, Michael Cera's doing hot. Give us the cheaper Michael Cera. I would say indie Squid and the Whale guy, that's your cheaper Michael Cera.
Oh, I don't think so.
You're an awkward guy. Awkward guys are coming in.
I think he is more expensive, Michael. I think Michael Cera now. Okay,
maybe now because Michael Cera's aging out of his young weird looks.
Well, okay. So here's what I think you got to put up against.
All right.
Because Michael Cera before Arrested Development, he blew up in Juno. Now the question is,
Juno was not before Arrested Development.
We'll see. I believe it was. Well, but
let me look up Michael Cera on my phone.
I would put The Squid and the Whale against is 2005. Let's see, Michael Cera.
I got Cera. You keep your guy on, because this way we can compare notes. All right, here we go. Michael Cera's first big role, Easy. Well, he had Weird City in 2019. I hate when it. Give me from the fucking beginning.
You got to go all the way to the beginning.
Sausage Party, which I was too scared to see. I got to go all the way to the goddamn beginning. He directed nothing. All right, let's see. 2005. Let's see. Human Giant. What the fuck, man? It's not saying Arrested Development.
The question is, what would Anthony be doing right now?
Probably
ruining this segment. No, see, Eisenberg was first, man. Nothing. Superbad was Sarah's breakout.
Yeah.
2007.
When was Arrested Development?
No, Arrested Development was before Superbad.
No, let's
yes,
find.
It was.
Let me find Arrested Development then.
It went away and it came back.
Yeah,
right?
Arrested Development was later than you guys are thinking.
No way.
He was like a little kid when he was on the show.
Dude.
Yeah, but you're 12.
I was living at my mom's house. Dude, it's totally...
Oh, 2003. You're right.
See?
You're right. You're absolutely right. 2003. All right. You're right. Okay.
Arrested Development doesn't seem like it's a long time ago because it went away and came back.
Right.
And came back. Yeah.
Dude, there was a bunch of... What's my main man's name from Superbad? The fat guy.
Jonah Hill.
There was so many fake Jonah Hills.
Yeah.
There's one with like curly hair and glasses. I think he might be on, like,
I know that guy. Yeah.
I don't know who that guy is. Maybe he's on The Goldbergs.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if he's on that show. But that's like a guy who they went...
Yeah.
Dude, I know some comedians who have big beards and shit.
Yeah.
And when Galifianakis blew up, they went, give me every fat beard guy. And they sold TV shows.
Yeah.
But none of them got made.
Yeah. No, none of them got made.
I thought when... What's up, Dan?
Zach Galifianakis is like a guy who like turns stuff down too, right? Just because he's like not in the mood.
Yeah, he could do
like,
whatever he
I'm
wants.
just gonna sit in my boat for a while or something. Or, you know.
That's the move, man. Just be happy, and then like you just do the things you want to do.
Yeah, like.
But then you add like mystery to yourself too. It's like Bill Murray or
You
something.
don't sell yourself out. You know who I was talking to? I was driving one day with Ted Alexandro.
Yeah.
And he goes, I think one of the like things I'm really happy about is that no one can pull up me doing some commercial for fucking scrubbing bubbles or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, because he just never got them, but then he was like, then he got to a point where he didn't need them.
Yeah.
And now he's like a political guy, so he's like, yeah, I'm happy I didn't ever have to take those Coca-Cola commercials and shit.
Right.
I'll take anything.
Yeah.
But I just need the fucking money.
Yeah, I'm happy no one can pull up a satirical, uber offensive podcasts that I've done for 6 years. That's what makes me
Do we go
happy.
down for this? Do you think this podcast is something that we can go down for?
Yeah. But
you think so?
Oh, absolutely.
For what? What have we ever done that was actually offensive?
Oh, so many things that we've said that can be taken out of context.
Out of context, sure, but I'm saying...
But that's how everyone goes down. No one ever respects the context. So here's the thing. We can't be taken down, and this is why, because you can only be taken down if you allow yourself to feel taken down. So could we lose opportunities because of this?
Slight change there. That's not necessarily true. Well, I guess... A lot of times people will go, hey, if you want this job, you have to apologize.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We could lose jobs. But so if we're calling that a takedown, then yes.
Okay.
But if by my judgment of it is, can someone take away my integrity? Can someone take away my belief that I'm a good person? Can someone attack me and win? No, because I know in my heart always what the intention of this podcast has been, and that's just shit we think is funny, and with no intention of offending anyone.
No hate or
no
anger.
hate in our heart. No hate or anger in our heart. And characters. And so it's like, yeah, you could take a million things we've said out of context and get taken down in this day and age. But, I don't care. I don't fucking care. Don't give me the job then. Suck my dick. I don't care,
No, but I mean, I would love to write comic books, and Marvel is owned by Disney.
Yeah.
I wonder what would happen if they pulled some of this stuff up. That being said, I have an argument I'm honestly trying to come to terms with how I feel. Right? Let's take Shane Gillis. This is the whole SNL thing, right?
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about Shane. I've met him several times. We've been nice. I don't know him perfectly, but I want to play the game of is he an actual, let's not even take Shane, throw Shane away. Let's take a fictional person, pull them up. They say, on this podcast, you've said racist things.
Right.
Now, for example, let's say he is, this fake character is a racist, right?
Right.
But is also very funny, right? I also have a sense of, man, you don't judge people by all of their parts. You have to judge people by what they are mostly. Like, if you have a hamburger and I take off just the mustard and go, this is gross, it's like, well, you're just eating mustard. You need to take all of the parts. Now, if 80% of them is a racist, hateful person, it's a bad hamburger. But if you've got shit like, if you take part of me, which is that I do enjoy jokes that make you uncomfortable, or I do enjoy, playing the character of, doing an Asian voice.
Well, but hold on, because you're saying two separate things.
Sure.
The second part, the way you described you, I totally agree with. But the first part you said, if someone's partially racist.
Let's say I have some partial racism in me, which I truly, there isn't, because I don't have hate.
I know there isn't.
I don't have hate in me, so I don't get when I look at. No, but I think I'm defining what that really is to me, that racism. Sure, if there's something where, do I prejudge people? You prejudge everyone you meet. It's a fucking defense mechanism, right? But I don't meet people and go I don't like them because of that, or, oh, they are doing this again.
Right.
That's not a thing that happens. Do I enjoy a fun accent? Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Mostly because it's taboo. Fine.
Yeah, and it's silly.
It's silly. So what I'm saying is that, there are two things I want to ask you. Right. One is, you can't take all the parts of someone. So someone who's a Trump supporter, right? My mom, I'm pretty sure, voted for Trump. She's definitely a super right-wing person. But my mom also raised me, has a good heart, does tons of shit. She was a nurse. She saved people's lives. It's like, yeah, okay, so she's got a little mustard on the hamburger. I don't like mustard. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the general consensus is that it's still a worthwhile person. You know what I mean?
Well, that's an interesting point, because that's something that bothers me, and it's something that I think, I'm a very liberal person.
Yeah.
My political beliefs run to the very liberal, right? And I think a huge fucking tremendous mistake made by Democrats, particularly more liberal Democrats, further left Democrats, is the assumption that anyone who voted for or supports Trump is an idiot and deserves to be sort of their views and their thoughts completely disregarded and thrown out.
Yeah.
Because here's the mistake in that, man. I fucking play all over this country, you know, and I play beat clubs and I play fucking, you know, honky tonks and shit. And I've met a number of people who are clearly Trump supporters, and to assume they're idiots is a huge mistake, and it's a disservice to fucking. They have their reasons. They're wrong. They've been conned by Trump. They've been conned by this man who because he's a liar and he's a con man and he's conned them. But just discard those people as idiots, you're making a mistake, and you're just as bad as him, because I've met people who are smart people and have voted for Trump because they've been sucked into this story that he tells, that he's this self-made man that is going to clean out what these are people who feel disenfranchised by the government, that feel like their elected representatives are not representing them.
Yeah.
And they feel like they've been fucking left out and they're being shit on, and they see Trump as the fucking solution to that. Now, I'm not saying there aren't idiots that support Trump and there aren't racists that support Trump. Of course there are.
They're all in the same camp,
Of course there are. But there also are people...
There are also idiots and racists who are on the fucking left.
Right. Exactly. And I'm not defending Trump. I hate Trump.
Yeah.
And I know we have listeners who probably like Trump, and
So
that's
left
fine.
and right, they're both equal.
Right.
Equally idiots. There's equal idiots in both camps.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Dude, I was on the train the other day. I just want a quick aside. Woman says, I hear her talking to her friend. She goes, I think the guy was like, how many parties? She was like, there's a lot of white people there, but they're okay. And it's like, you can say that loud? You can say that out loud on a train, and people aren't like, you don't stop judging people by the color of their skin. I'm more than a white person. I'm sorry. One more thing, too. I was in a New York comedy club, fucking comedy green room, and this girl looks, she's a little Asian girl, and I love Asian people. And
You're married to one.
Yes, I tend to have a power over them where they can't, they can't facilitate their own, sexual. They just come at me too much.
Sure, yeah.
And she just starts cracking. She looks at me and she goes, I don't give a fuck, you white people anyway. And I went, hey, I'm more than that. You know what I'm saying? And I do think that that's...
Yeah.
You can't sit here and act like we're fucking super liberal and not racist when you're clearly grouping everyone. You're just wrong teams.
Well, I don't... And it's like this... It's this whole wormhole that... And it's so funny we're getting into this on the Rad Dudecast because we don't get very serious very often. But it's
not serious. We're just floating ideas.
It's becoming this thing in comedy and the larger world, but a lot of it is shown in comedy where, like, you're almost... There's all these things that happen that are said that almost like... are almost like... It feels like people are trying to force you to, like, become a, like, straight... white men advocate, which is like, as soon as you do that, you're fucked. But it's like people
because
are
the people who are really doing that are doing it too much.
But like people are saying shit.
But
where
I'm not
you're
a straight
like,
white male advocate. I'm an equal rights advocate.
Well, I'm just like, it's just
not
like
generally. I'm a not judge me by the color of my skin advocate.
But which people would even get mad at you for saying that as a white man. Like, nobody's judging you by the color of your skin. But it's like, yeah, they are now.
Actively said it to my face. In a green room. Actively said it to my face.
Yeah, like there's shows in New York. There's comedy shows that literally say on their fucking description of the show, no white men, no straight white men allowed on the show. You can come, but you can't be on the show. And it's like,
you can come. You can come be in the audience.
Yeah, it's like you're goading me to say something. You like want me to fucking be like, hey, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? You know, and it's just a weird time. This whole cancel culture. It's like, I think
it's all bad.
I really think
not all bad. It's all it's destroying a lot. So we just have to become more of what we're destroying here. More specific.
I really think Dave Chappelle's most recent special, which Dave Chappelle is my second favorite comedian after Hedberg. I love Chappelle. Comedically, it wasn't my favorite of his specials.
Mm-hmm.
But what I truly think, because I think he's a genius, and I truly think the whole fucking special was an attempt by him. Literally almost every joke was him deliberately trying to say, cancel me.
Yeah.
So let's see how this works.
Yeah.
I dare you.
Yeah,
I think he was literally doing what Lenny Bruce used to do.
Yeah.
Pushing the boundaries on purpose.
Yeah.
To say this needs to change. So let me be the guy because I have the power. I'll say some shit that's fucked up.
And I'll still have fans.
And you do whatever you can try and do to me. I think he did that on purpose, literally with that in mind.
Watch Burr's special.
Yeah.
Same shit.
Yeah. And to that end, I respect that because it's like, Jim Jeffries said, and I agree with this. He said, I don't know, it may have been his most recent special, may have been the one before. No, it was the most recent. He said, he's talking about he does a Cosby rape joke. And it's a pretty good joke. It's offensive. It's fucking offensive. Like, without.
What's offensive about it? And what's offensive also? You need to really...
Because it's insensitive to the victim, to Cosby's victims, right? And so I could see that.
How is it insensitive, though? I need to know these things before we can
I don't want to say because I don't remember the bit exactly, but it's pretty much, the premise is pretty much like, if you're going to get raped, like, this one wasn't so bad. Like to wake up to Bill Cosby fingering you. It could be worse. Like that's
similar to Chappelle's, which is about, what the Chappelle's thing was
with Michael
Jackson.
Yeah.
Where she was
similar
like,
thing. Yeah.
If you're going to get molested by someone, get molested by Michael Jackson.
So it's clearly a joke that people could be offended by.
Sure.
And I have no problem with people being offended by jokes. You have a right to be offended by jokes.
Yeah.
You have a right to fucking go online and yell about being offended by jokes. It's this idea that a very vocal minority online gets people to lose their jobs and gets people...
But we're realizing now that they're a minority.
Yeah.
Because for a long time, we thought they were the majority. Like,
Right.
this is what people are thinking.
Right.
And it's like, no, this is what a very small percentage of people is thinking.
And so Jeffries does the joke, and then he talks about how on tour in Australia, it became an uproar, and essentially the tour was canceled. And he goes on, and he does it in a funny way, but, and I don't want to say it's a direct quote, because I maybe have it out of line, but he goes like, these are not, when I tell you stuff on stage, these are not things that I believe.
Mm-hmm.
These are things that I believe are funny.
Sure, yeah.
There's a huge do I think you should be raped by Bill Cosby? No,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think anyone should be raped by anyone.
Of course.
I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I believe it makes me laugh to think about.
Yeah.
And like that is the thing to me
What
where
special
it's like,
is? I haven't seen this special.
I think it's
Last
the
one?
most recent, yeah. And it's like that to me that resonated where it's like, yeah, man, it's not necessarily. You're not necessarily saying your truth, what you truly believe deep in your heart. Now, some comedians are, but not all are.
Mm-hmm.
Some are saying what they truly believe deep in their heart is a funny fucking thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. It's okay to get offended. It's okay to even voice your offense on the internet. What I think is not okay is when networks and money and industry and everything starts getting afraid of all of this and starts taking everything away. Starts making everything vanilla. Starts fucking like, because like, and it's the same, very similar thing, very similar to Jeffrey's quote is what Chappelle said in that special when he said, "You clicked on my face.
Yeah.
You chose this.
Yeah.
Like you picked this fucking book up.
Yeah.
Like nobody told you to do this. So,
dude, go back in time and look at every comedy special of every famous comedian. Dude, find out for how many of them are actually, truly bad people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I would say, okay, Eddie Murphy's talking about like gays was like, dude, that's like a bad mindset. Of like I thought it was like it was truly offensive towards gays, but at the time, not as many people were super liberal with gay stuff. Dude, watch Police Academy.
Yeah.
The way they portray gay people is that they're all leather daddies. They're all at this bar.
Yeah.
And if you go in there, they're going to make you dance with them and make you gay too.
Well,
it was like crazy. But that's just like the internet really wasn't then there.
Right.
There wasn't a lot of people out. Not a lot of people had as many people who were gay friends. So it's like, okay, but you truly go back, how much truly offensive specials are there that you're like head to toe, this guy is fucking a Nazi?
Right.
Not as many, because generally people only put forward things that are like, okay, like generally I think people are good. And I think generally they're really only paying for stuff that is kind of like that.
Yeah.
How many big Nazi propaganda movies made it through cinema? None.
Right.
And I mean, that sounds like a crazy thing to say, but the truth is, it's like people are only going to pay for what is good, because I think generally people are more good than bad.
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to come down. For me, it's confusing. I don't have the answer because, like, I mean, look, some things.
The answer to what?
To what we're discussing. I guess canceling culture or whatever.
I have an answer. Go ahead.
Because it is confusing because. Like, nobody, the free speech argument,
sure,
right, does not come into play. And people will bring that up, but the truth is that has no bearing on – it had a bearing on Lenny Bruce because they arrested him.
It was a law.
Because they arrested him.
It can't be – once it becomes an issue, that means there's putting laws in play.
Yeah.
So we need to keep – before just to, like, I think to what you're saying is we need to make sure that it doesn't become law, that you can't say certain things, that like, so that, I think we have very good free speech right now.
Right. So when people say, oh, you're infringing on so-and-so's free speech by trying to get him out of a job, you're not. That's not how free speech is involves laws. Free speech would be if he were arrested, or if in Shane Gillis's case, the government told SNL they had to fire him.
Yeah.
That's not a free speech issue. Free speech, because you're allowed to say whatever you want, but a business is also allowed to not hire you because you said that. That's not a free speech issue.
They can also, to note, I got a job interview once where they did credit checks. And if you had bad credit, they wouldn't hire you.
Oh, sure.
So how the fuck are we not worried about that? You're worried about jobs not hiring you for things you said?
Yeah.
People who are trying to get their lives together because they got a bad credit card in 8th grade, or freshman year of college,
4th grade. These predators.
Yeah.
But so what I guess where I'm confused is like I don't know that I can really put my finger on anyone who's to blame. In other words, I think a comedian has the right to say things that are offensive to certain people.
What about let's go all the way though. Does a comedian have the right to be an actual racist?
Yeah.
And have a job on SNL?
No. Well, yes. Do they have the right? Yes. Should they? No.
What do you mean? So we shouldn't allow people who are racist, let's say that Shane Gillis or whoever, fake person, has actual racism, grew up in a place, whatever, and also is one of the best performers of all time. We should take away we should take away their right to do that?
In my opinion, yes.
So let me ask you another question.
And I don't think I make clear. I know Shane.
No, we're not talking about Shane. We're just.
I don't think Shane is a racist.
Sure.
I think, but
hang on. No, let me ask you this. I want to go to the next level, right? Now maybe this is too much of a thing, but we used Nazis to get to the moon. These people had skills, a skill set that the fucking Nazis were, and we used them, and we got to the moon from actual Nazi scientists, right? Now, to that, sure, we were worried about the Russians getting it, and that maybe involved people's lives.
Yeah.
But also these comedians aren't actual Nazis, so it decreases on the job isn't as big, and also the person isn't as big as the racist. I think if generally there are bad people, I think that if someone has a great skill, they should be able to use that skill. And it's not our jobs to tell them, look, U.S. are telling you're an actual racist. Man, he's not in charge of putting his propaganda out there. I don't know. I don't know if I feel okay. I think I'm okay with people having different mindsets.
Yeah, I think we just disagree on that. I think that's an interest. Like, I think, yes, we did use German scientists to develop rocketry in the moon program. That's an interesting argument, and it is sort of the same thing on a lesser level. I just think if someone truly is shown to be a racist, I think that a network television show should not hire them.
I here's why I disagree. And I don't know that I fully disagree, but I'm coming to these terms now, and I'm trying to get into it. Because the true racism that these people have isn't the racism that we are pretending they have. It's not sitting on I hate these blacks. That's not really the level of racism that all of these people kind of have, or sexism or misogynyism, is either not being around people enough. It's very minimal. It's not true hate. It's not true anger. It's I grew up in Boston. We say fag a lot. Yeah, being gay is weird.
Well, but now you're talking about you're changing.
I'm not changing. What I'm saying is what these people truly are. What the true argument of what these people are is not what we're painting them as.
Well, because now we started this as a hypothetical conversation about a true racist. What you just described.
Well, I'm not finished. That's why.
Okay.
Because what I'm trying to go with this is true actual racists like that are never smart. They're never smart. I mean, the Nazis who got the people to the moon, they weren't Nazis because they were like, I don't like the Jews. They were Nazis because they were like, you're the people who will give me the money to do the crazy things I want to do. And that's what I believe in first and foremost. So you got to commit. I mean, maybe I'm all over the place here. I guess I am changing the argument a little bit of the people who are racist in that way. They're not real race. They're not racist in the way of, they just probably haven't lived in New York or have the same stances you have. We're calling them Nazis when the real racism they have is, I don't know, man, black people steal more. Look at these statistics. And you go, well, those statistics could be because of this, this, and this, and they haven't done all that research and shit like that.
Well, it's just, okay, so then I guess my answer is, look, if someone truly, if there was something that came out where someone, we can truly define them as having hate in their heart towards other races or towards women or whatever it may be, what you're calling kind of a true racist, right?
And also we also have to have another caveat to that, which is continuing. I guess the thing I want to switch here is that, like, if
not
you're
learning,
a continuing, like if someone just goes, man, this isn't how I feel. This isn't who I am. Then it's like, well, then give them the fucking job. I mean, everybody should be forgiven if that's a thing. But it's also not breaking the law by being a racist. You're not breaking the law by having a different set of fucking opinions.
Yeah, but I think because you keep.
I know it's multiple things.
There's two things here. I do think the way you described the first racist, a guy that was just ignorant and then kind of learned, that person I think should clearly be given a job. A person who is...
Let's just say Nick DiPaolo. Should Nick DiPaolo be allowed to work on SNL?
I don't know anything about Nick DiPaolo's... I don't know him.
Nick... Okay, yeah, and I also, maybe it's shitty of me to even say that, but, like, his act can be a little racist, and he says things.
Nobody's hiring Nick DiPaolo for SNL, you know? I mean, sure. But I think I'm agreeing with you.
Maybe Nick DiPaolo's not a racist. I don't know.
I think I'm agreeing with you in that, look, if someone has had in the past some racist or otherwise hateful ideas based on ignorance, or like, for instance, you take Eddie Murphy's original specials, which, like you said, you go back and you listen to that gay stuff, and it's super offensive. But you put it into a context where here's this kid who fucking, first of all, he's 21, 22 years old when he's shooting those specials. He grew up in rough neighborhoods where that was just what was being said, and no one told him otherwise. To me, that's important. That information is important.
Sure.
The background is important. And if he's willing to learn when someone says, hey, that's offensive because A, B, and C, and he goes, oh, yeah, maybe I better not say faggot, like maybe there's reasons, or at least I better make clear that I'm joking and that I don't feel that way inside, well, then that's fine with me. And same for anyone that's now, being considered for a job and is being called a racist or whatever on the internet. I think it's for me, the deciding factor is, are they truly a racist person with hate in their heart?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that person to get a job on network television. It's not up to me. I don't have a choice. But if I was given the deciding vote,
Mm-hmm.
I would say no. Now, the other person you described, the person who grew up in a place and wasn't exposed to certain things and said stuff that was insensitive, but didn't really know and didn't really kind of had some prejudices but was willing to open up and learn when then yes, I think that person should be forgiven and let learn and let move on. Exactly like you said, the Germans who got us to the moon, Werner von Braun or whatever, they weren't the guys in the fucking death camps. They probably didn't even know about it. They were scientists that were working for their country that were kind of just making rockets.
Well, they kind of knew, and they also kind of were just so into wanting to do rocket science that they were like, well, who gives a shit? They were like, whatever.
Right.
But let me recaveat this question. Let me say, so here's how, because I'm trying to think reality, not hypothetical. The reality of the racists I know, I'm going to call them they're kind of like Nick DiPaolo, to be honest with you, right? Where they hate generally, but not specifically. Well, they'll go, blacks are all doing this, right? But then they hanging out with Patrice,
right?
And they're they're friends with Patrice,
right.
And whatever. And then you're in a writer's room, and they're going, but you people do this, right? I think that if it's not if it's a person who's not hurting anyone, but does have these fucked up viewpoints, I don't know if I hate them as much, because then it's generally racism, because I've worked with those people in writer's room, but they're doing it, not to sound shitty, but they're doing it to white people, where they go, y'all do this, y'all do that, this is how you are, this is why you don't know that shit. And I go, you're being racist. So I'm allowing you to be here because it's a 2% racism, because it's a fucked up viewpoint coming from something that you are seeing generally. So we get a guy in there who's doing the opposite. It's like, I don't know. I think if you have I guess it's because I just feel bad for those people. I feel on both sides. I feel bad for people who have been hurt so much that they just think all this general shit. But if you hate specific hate is the stuff I don't like. When you're like, you're Asian, you can't drive, that's fuck you. But if you're like, Asians can't drive, you can probably drive. General fine, specific bad.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes.
Also, I don't know how I feel. This is only just throwing out ideas.
It's murky. The waters are murky.
Hey, and minority over there, keep your mouth shut. I don't think Dan heard me. I was pretending it's funny that two white guys are having a race discussion. Yeah. And Dan is just operating the computer. Can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, he's
sorry,
thrilled
Dan.
with you.
Sorry, Dan.
I think it gets murky. It gets murky and complicated, and that's why it's so hard to know how to respond as a straight white guy when you're getting sort of shit on broadly.
Yeah.
Because look, man, I get it. We oppressed, not us, not me personally, and not you personally, but our race oppressed everyone for, the last 2,000 years.
Sure.
And so there is something to be said about, well, other races are allowed to do it and we're not allowed to do it.
No.
Yes.
That's not like, hey, you shot me so I can shoot you. No,
yeah.
I've always been on the stance of racism is bad. I don't give a shit who is doing it.
I know.
Judging people by the color of their skin is bad. You don't get to just do it because your uncle, it happened to your uncle.
Yeah, but here's why it's murky.
I'm fighting it on every aspect.
Right. I understand that. But here's why it's not as clear cut as that. Because it didn't just happen to their uncle. It happens to them. It happened.
Sure.
What we as white people, and I say white people, 'cause, I mean, it fucking doesn't even include me. My dad came here in the 60s,
sure.
But what we as white people take African Americans, for instance, they couldn't vote until a generation ago. Like they weren't allowed to really receive a fair education until a generation ago. I mean that affects them to this day. That affects every black person.
Racism exists. Racism exists.
Yeah, but no, I'm not just saying racism.
Systematic racism against black people.
Historical racism
exists.
So yes. So I think it becomes a little murky. And I understand your viewpoint, and I don't think I necessarily disagree with it. I just think it's a little more complicated when it's like, well, we kind of fucked them real bad. Real bad.
We. I am not we. I don't like this idea that we categorize people in that we categorize white people as if your skin was white. No, those were not my people.
I understand.
No, because good people, empathetic people, fucking those people, they were not part of that system. There were for every civil rights problem, for women's not being able to vote, there were white people. And I don't say white people. There were good people who let that happen. The Civil War, there were good people who stopped that. That wasn't black people fighting white people.
No, I understand that, but this is why it's so complex. Is that
we just generalize by the skin color?
No, I know, but
no, that's not what's making these people do these things.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that the good people, the good white people who weren't racist, who were perhaps abolitionists,
sure,
or who were perhaps suffragists, wanted the women's right to vote. They still benefited from the privilege of not being
white
oppressed.
Privilege exists,
right?
Yes,
right. So that's why. But the
argument is: are then people allowed to then do it to? Is now the other side allowed to do that? We're just hitting the tennis ball back and forth.
Right.
We're trying to stop the fucking game. Stop the game of judging people without getting to know who they are. That's the problem.
I agree. I agree with that.
Also,
100%.
This is also coming from a guy who grew up in a neighborhood where I have a scar on my face for being the only white guy there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I have been chased and beaten up by people because I was the minority of where I grew up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just trying to, and I went to high school and said, when I met white people and they were like, yo, why are you hanging out with these fucking Puerto Ricans? And I was like, fuck you, you don't know them. And I've been fighting for them my whole life. So now that I'm still fighting the same fight,
right,
which is stop judging people on the color of their skin.
Right.
It doesn't help anything. It gets us, okay, so let's be honest. We play this, if we see this through, keep doing what we're doing, guess what? White people are becoming the minority, which is great. And it's just going to switch. And then all the other, who the minorities now will then be the majority, and then it's going to be okay to shit on them. And it's like, no, we need to get past this thought that it's okay to judge people based on the color of their skin no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. 100%. I guess where I'm differing from you is that I can understand. I'm not saying you can't understand it.
I totally understand why someone would be mad.
I can understand that the anger at a straight white male. I can understand that, and I can understand the feeling that it's time to take something back, to give us some of what other races and other genders have been given. Like, I can understand that.
I'm all for equal rights.
Right.
But what I'm not for, and this is a specific reason why, and this is specific to my life, growing up with a lot of minorities, and knowing
which both of us did.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. I'm only speaking for myself now. I'm not saying that you're not part of that. But I know if I went the block the wrong way, there was a lot of places I couldn't walk growing up because I knew if they saw me and I didn't have friends to vouch for me, I'd get my fucking ass kicked. I could get killed. That's just what that was, right?
Right.
Then when I got into 7th, 8th grade, I told you about this. I had a friend who was like, I got my Hispanic friends whom I love to this day kind of found their Hispanic friends to hang out with, and I felt that I got pushed aside and I didn't have a group anymore. Mm-hmm. And then the white kids, I didn't know because they were all rich and North Enders. I had nothing to bond with them about.
Right.
I hung out with this one kid who essentially turns out to be, he was like a fucking Nazi. Yeah. And I kind of thought, I was like, hey, I can change this guy. I can kind of make him think differently, right? And all he kept trying to push on me was like, look what they did to you. Look how they beat you up, and they would do all this shit. And I was like, no. You're not talking about me. You're not talking about Emil and Alan. You're talking about these shitty kids who saw me for the color of my skin and wanted to take, who their parents were like, fuck white people, and they wanted to fight me. Yeah. So he was constantly trying to get me to think, and he almost could have, in the way of, if I just said, if he was like, who are the people who are robbing everything? I would go, oh, black people. That's where I grew up. I see black people beating people up all the time. Like, because I was growing up in the ghetto. It was mostly, not the ghetto, but it was low income. It was primarily, that's what you saw with your eyes, but if you didn't use your brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, but now I see those people are being talked to by the same guy who talked to me in high school. They're like, look at what they did. Look at what they've been doing to you that you've seen with your own eyes. And people are going, yeah, you're right, man. I know all the white people were mean to me. I know all the white. And it's like, no, that's not what's happening. You're just grabbing the wrong category. You're the people who were mean to you were dumb before they were white. They were angry before they were white. They were selfish before they were white. But if you use those categories to judge people, you will see that people have been the same throughout history, through the most part. I mean, there's no way for me to really prove that. But the easy way to look at them is by the color of their skin, because it's the first thing you fucking see. And how fucking simple of a mindset is that?
Yeah, it's horrible. And I told you I had a good plan for this podcast.
What? Oh, wow, I knew it.
I told you I had a good subject lined up for you.
He did it again.
I told you I had us cooking, baby. I had us figuring out big-time political issues.
This always happens when it comes to you and me.
Yeah, well, because Anthony detracts from any kind of serious... That guy has got hand, foot, and mouth disease. If you didn't listen to the original episode, Anthony's not here because he's got a children's hand-washing disease.
Yeah. I also want to throw the caveat is that these conversations that we have is like, it is me playing, trying to figure out how I feel about a lot of these things. And like, you know what I mean? I've been running a joke about like the white privilege thing, which is kind of what I was saying with general to specific, which is yes, generally there is white privilege. And I love talking about white privilege. But when you go, you have privilege because you're white, that's when I get mad because it's specific. And I go, you don't know who I am. You don't know about me. I don't like the idea that you get to pretend you know my life without asking me. Now, I'm sure there's a ton of it in there. But I just don't like the fact, like, I had this argument with with a black friend whose parents were doctors, and he has had nothing but great jobs in the writing business.
Right.
You know, and he went to a great college, right? And he was telling me about white privilege. And I was like, dude, what? Like, I don't understand how you get to explain to me about privilege when you're one of the most privileged people I've ever... Your parents were fucking doctors. You were rich. You've just been getting writing job after writing job because you had great schooling. And and it's like, I've never had any fucking money. And where I grew up being white was a problem.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's...
So there's
all
that.
All that shit is complicated. And these are discussions like...
But that's still... White privilege is general. True. Just don't throw it specific at people.
These are the kind of discussions people should be having openly, face-to-face, not through fucking tweet storms and just dragging people down. And it's like, yes, this is a good discussion me and you are having, but this is a discussion that needs to happen with me, you, our black friends, our women friends.
I don't have any.
This is the kind of discussion people should be having face to face and talking about, but you can't.
But without being angry too. Without
angry.
Listening to listen.
Yes.
I was never angry, but I do get passionate and like to yell.
And like I always have this weird situation, all this weird guilt because I have this strange situation where like I grew up rich, you know, like I grew up rich, but also people don't know that like my dad was. You know, I mean, I love my dad to death, but he was fucking crazy. Like, he was so fucking strict.
Yeah.
So strict. And it was because he moved to this country with nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
And he literally volunteered for Vietnam because they would pay for college.
Yeah,
you know, that's how he went to college. And so his mindset was like, oh, if you come home with anything less than an A, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, like, and so it's like,
sure.
So it's like, it's this weird thing where people are like, oh, you must have been so lucky. And it's like, yeah, in one way,
sure,
I'm hugely lucky.
We're all very complex individuals with complex backstories.
You can't just
and that's why I don't like the specific argument. It's the specific.
Yeah,
Stop calling me.
Yeah, don't say like, "Oh, you little rich boy." And it's like, well, you don't understand like what it was. It's not like he was buying me. Like I had fucking less toys than Anthony. You know, like
everyone had less toys than Anthony.
There's trade-offs to everything, and there's like yeah, I'm very, very lucky. Like I know if ever I were to go, if ever things turned super south. I mean, they did. Things did turn super south.
Who?
And
when you went to a mental facility?
And I went a year without making money. And God knows what would have happened to me if I didn't have parents that had some money.
Sure.
Because they were able, I was able to go and live at their house. You know, I was able to exist. So like,
but I mean, that's what's funny to me is that someone goes, "You have white privilege because you're mentally fucking fucked," and then someone helped you, and it's like, wait, did you not hear the first part of that sentence?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? And sure,
right.
if someone with your exact situation had to go through that, they would, but that's so specific because most people don't have the mental illness that you have to deal with.
Yeah, or not only that, or it's like, or you have privilege, and it's like, yeah, I have privilege, but also like, I was privileged financially.
Mm-hmm.
But also, my dad was never home because because in his mind, love was work, love was money.
Yeah.
Because he grew up, and it made sense because he was an immigrant with nothing, and so to show his family love meant being the best provider you can. And so he was always gone working, and when he was home, I was afraid of it.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, yes, I was privileged, but also I was fucking terrified and fucked up in my head. So like, everyone has a million different like.
To pivot a little, I want to talk about that for a second,
Yeah.
right? We're kind of okay. It doesn't matter. We can go over. My stepdad was extremely abused as a child. I don't know to what extent because they didn't really talk about it, and he's extremely fucked up. And he was, man, like, I don't want to say like you could say, I don't want to say abused, but like borderline abusive, you know, like, but it wasn't coming from this place of like when you see the drunks who are like, "Give me a fucking soda."
Right.
He was a cop who saw people burning to death when they fucked up. George's mind was like, if these kids fuck up, they're going to become the people I'm arresting and whatever. So he was too strict to the point of like, yeah, man, like, I don't know. I don't want to say this because I don't know, like, you know, I don't know. I don't want to fucking whatever. I love him, but he's a cop. Like, I think similar to your father is this complicated individual who loved us, but also knew that if he didn't have the put him in timeout bullshit, you know, his dad fucking hit him with a steel rod. So with me, he was like, well, "I'm not hitting you with a steel rod. I'm just gonna, you know, like, I just don't want to get into that stuff. You know what I mean? But like, I kind of forgot where I was.
Well, no, it's I think what you're saying is like, nobody is willing. We've lost all context.
Yeah.
It's like if you're going to judge a person, like, then really judge them. Like, find out about them, talk to them, like, see what's driving them to where they're at. Now, I don't mean if some guy's just going around saying we got to kill the ends, then it's like, well, that's a hateful.
It's the worst train.
That's a hateful, real racist. That, you know, that's a different matter. But if there's a guy where you're like, this is borderline offensive, get to know them.
Well, let's be honest, right? My views, even in this podcast, might not have been correct, or they might not even be correct to what you believe. But I say is, allow me to be a little wrong. Look at me as a whole and say, hey, you know what, though? I know that if Greg was in trouble, even though I'm black, he'd try to help me out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not racist, but I think I'm saying the same thing you're saying. Like, we're all complicated individuals, and where I might be wrong, look at us, talk to them, get to know your Republican, Trump voting neighbor, and say, all right, he's got this problem, but as a whole, he's adding to my life, and so I'd like to have them there. Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I know someone who's fairly close to me. I won't say who. Who's an older guy, and he's a Trump guy, and it's not my dad. My dad is strangely a Democrat. My dad is the most Republican active. Well, it's because he's an Irish Catholic. They're all fucking Democrats, and John F. Kennedy turned them on.
Really?
Yeah. Any Irish Catholic is a Democrat.
Wow.
Almost any. But
I thought the Catholic thing makes you immediately Republican.
No. Catholics are almost always Democrats. Not
Not
always.
my family, old friend.
So this guy, he's a Trump guy, but it's like clearly because he has. I'll tell you after the podcast who he is, but he has like a small business that the city government gives him trouble about like wanting to do additions and shit to, and then he has a piece of land that like he has to jump through all these hoops and they're fucking with him and they won't let him build what he wants to build. And like in his mind, Trump is this renegade who's like, get the government out of the fucking, they're meddling and they're bothering people and I'm not for that. You know, he's just kind of taken in by that fucking talk, even though Trump's doesn't really represent that, but he's taken in by that talk. And it's like, if you get to know someone, you can see their motivations and see, like, it's easier to make a snap judgment than it is to like, all right, let me hear the story. Let me figure out what this guy's deal is. Dan, where are we at on this, on two white men having a racist discussion? What's your take on this? How far off the mark are we? What are we doing here?
It sounds pretty good overall, I think. My thing, I think, with especially with like the Shane Gillis thing, which most of the stuff comes up with like show business. Why I think it always comes up with show business is because it is. We all know it is so competitive.
Yeah.
SNL hired 3 people.
Go 3 camera on this,
so
or go full Dan on this.
No.
Give me full camera on Dan, and then tell us what you're saying.
I mean, SNL hired 3 people this year, and one of them happens to possibly be racist. So it's like, what are the odds? I think the reason why people get so mad is that one spot could have gone to somebody else.
Sure.
Yeah. It could have gone to anybody, and they happen to pick this guy.
Yeah. Can I tell you something, though?
Yeah.
And this is where I want to go with this. I'm going to go here. And me and Nathan McIntosh were talking about this the other day. I think it's 100% a work. I don't know how far they digged, but they were like, give us somebody a little controversial, because we've noticed that no matter who we hire, the numbers don't change. But if we get someone who's a little controversial, people will tune in for hate watches. You can't look. I'm not saying who Shane is as a person or not as a person, but the guy was on Compound Media, right? He's got a Compound Media podcast. You know what know that area is going to be more lenient with.
For those of you that don't
racial slurs.
No, Compound Media is Anthony Cumia's, formerly of Opie and Anthony. That's his podcast.
And those podcasts I don't listen to a lot of them. Just I don't have the app, or I don't listen to podcasts. But those podcasts tend to be more like, you know, like they do more race jokes, and whether or not more race. I don't know. I don't want to call them racist or anything.
Not all of them. I mean, Tommy Popes doesn't at all. But
he's got a podcast on Compound.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm just generalizing.
No. It's not all of them. It's just that being associated with Anthony Cumia kind of gives, and some of the podcasts on that network are a little offensive, but being associated with Cumia in
I know. I want to assume they are, but I've never listened to any of them actually.
No, yeah, they're
so
not.
I don't want to like.
Some of them are fine, yeah.
You know, but like I can say with if you're going to grab someone from fucking Gas Digital, it's like, well, you know, Luis Gomez, we all know who he is. You know, like I love Luis, but like you know that he's going to have. If you listen to his podcast, there's going to be some shit that people are going to be mad about. So I think they kind of knew a little bit of like, hey, this will get us some heat. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't, but. Let's see. If they don't fire him, I think they knew.
I'll tell you this fucking work.
What?
That I've nailed down personally.
Sure. Tell me.
The Eminem Machine Gun Kelly beef. That was a work if I ever saw it. They're on the same label. Eminem drops a song coming after Machine Gun Kelly, because Machine Gun Kelly was like Instagram messaging his daughter. Fucking next day, Machine Gun Kelly comes out with a response rap with a video.
Probably written by Eminem.
The next day, and they're on the same label. They're on the same label. That's a work.
But that's what sells.
Yeah.
And I know we were going over. No one cares. I just poured Dan. I don't know if you have to go home.
No.
The whole thing with Trump for me is that like this isn't the first Trump is literally the first wrestling president. So my issue isn't with, is Trump going to ruin America? Is he going to make every president a wrestling president? The debates are a wrestling match.
Yeah.
We need to get away from take each other down, yell, dividing, wrestling, hate, anger, and get back to, yeah, man, who's the good guy? Where's our Jon Snow?
Right.
Who's the guy who just can run the country right and not divide us with wrestling? I mean, that's what we need to get away from.
Yeah. Well, I think
we'll
Trump's ruined the country, but this has been good.
Yeah.
I got to go.
You were right, old friend.
How was that?
Pound for pound, best guy around. I just get anxious. I have real anxiety problems.
Me too. Diagnosed.
I'm undiagnosed. I'm undie.
You know, did I ever tell you about that lizard?
I would hit stop just because, man, I want to know where this is going. What lizard?
There was a little lizard. I don't know if it was the same one, but because I was down there in Houston, they have lizards in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
He'd come to my window at the mental hospital. I'd just have talks with that guy for hours.
You talked to a mental hospital lizard? Yes, you did tell me about this.
Yeah, I would talk to that little fella for hours. He was a good guy.
Didn't I tell you? Oh, are you? Can I? Or are you?
Yeah.
When I was in North Carolina, there were all these lizards, and I put one in a jar over one. I was like, I'm going to catch him, and I'm going to have a lizard pet. And I looked at him, and I think it's because I had too much Adderall. I started to cry a little bit, and I went, this is what you're doing? You're going to take away this lizard who is living his life so you can have him as a pet, live in a cage? And I let him go.
Funny.
And then he ran over by a car.
Opposite experience, because my lizard was outside looking at me in the cage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Everything comes full circle.
You guys are great. Dan, big old thanks to you.
Big thanks to Dan.
Did we cut you off? Did you have anything else you wanted to?
No.
Sure?
No, I'm good.
You don't want to do your manifesto? You've been talking about it.
No, quick shout out though. If you watch the CBS show Blue Bloods with Donnie Wahlberg, episode 1 of season 10 airs, I think, next week. I am in the episode.
Quick shout out to himself.
Yeah.
As I'm sort of some sort of tech cop.
Dude, you are.
I'm like a hacker.
You get a word? You get a word in?
No, but it's me and Donnie Wahlberg, like right next to each other.
Nice.
It's pretty. I'm like camera center, so there's no way they're cutting me out of this one.
He's one of the biggest
stars.
Extra workers.
I wouldn't call that an extra.
Wait, can I have 5 more minutes?
30.
I want to talk to Dan real quick about this. You did that, so you did in J-Lo's show.
Yeah.
I wanted to open with this. Totally forgot.
Yeah.
He did J-Lo's movie Brazers? Hustlers.
Yeah.
Brazers, he calls it.
Brazzers, I think.
Brazzers. Tell Brendan a little bit about that. What your experience was working that scene.
Okay, so I got hired as an extra, and they were shooting at this strip club in Long Island City.
Which one? That Russian one?
Is there more than one? It's like by Court Square. But
it's the Rush. It's not a good strip club.
Oh, Showcase.
I think
yeah,
so.
Don't go there.
Yeah.
It's very expensive.
You won't get your money's worth. I'll tell you that much.
It looks kind of nice, I guess.
That's how they get you.
But they want you $60 to get in, then $60 for a seat.
And then you're not getting. No one's coming in there.
No one's coming.
Yeah. Anyways, call time on set was like 3 p.m. We get there, get dressed. We don't actually go into the strip club until like 8 at night. We were there in the strip club until 5 a.m.
Wow.
Overnight, just sitting there watching, and they had real strippers.
Yeah, they were really
like
naked.
Real strippers going up and down the big poles. They
Topless
were really naked.
or full nude?
Full nude.
Full nude.
Nice.
And they were actually but you had to keep watching the exact same song dance over and over, take after take.
Mind was becoming so used to seeing the naked bodies.
It's not even like a
it
turn
did
on.
nothing for you anymore.
I'd be turned on the whole time.
That was the big question.
You got to be like Superman to.
I am.
I don't know. Yeah.
Wait,
I don't know.
let me ask you this:
lights,
is that and you don't have to answer if you're uncomfortable. Is that an hourly pay or
No. I mean, it is up to 10 hours and then overtime. So we got overtime pay.
Okay.
But I would never ever take that job again, knowing what.
And what's
staring at titties for that long?
Can I ask what extra pay is like?
It's $165 for 10 hours.
That is not a good hourly rate.
That is basically the minimum wage.
No, it is far less. That is $1.65 an hour.
$165, 10 hours. So $15 is the minimum wage for the first 8 hours, and then it's 22 after that. But it was. It's like existential at a certain point.
Yeah.
You're watching naked women. Like, I need to go home and shower or something.
Yeah. I've never jacked off longer than 39 hours.
That's not a lot. That's your. Yeah. Oh, but you didn't even get to the best part of your story.
What was that?